What if the problem isn't that your life is stressful? What if you're addicted to stress? Not consciously, but chemically and energetically. You say you want peace, you say you want calm, but the moment when things genuinely slow down, you don't feel relieved, you feel uncomfortable. You reach for distraction, you pick up your phone, you start scrolling, you look for interaction. Anything to interrupt the silence and fill the space with noise. Not because anything is wrong, but because your nervous system isn't used to stillness. Today, we're talking about something most people will never admit. Modern society isn't just stressed, it's conditioned to need stress. And until you recognize that pattern, you'll keep filling quiet moments with stimulation and recreating pressure even when there's nothing demanding it. Let's get started. Stress used to be survival-based, a real threat, a real emergency. But today, our stresses are ones that don't necessarily go away. It's whether we can pay our bills, maintain our relationships, and whether we can live up to the expectations of what we and others expect from us. We've normalized being busy, being behind, being in pursuit, and always achieving the next thing. Even mindless time isn't mindless. If we're not scrolling, consuming, or comparing, then we're reacting. Your nervous system never fully powers down. And here's the subtle shift. Stress stops being something you experience. It becomes who you are. And we identify with stress by saying things like, I'm just a busy person, I can't sit still, or I work better under pressure. So no, this isn't truth. You're just conditioned to cortisol and addicted to stress. Let's be honest, stress gives you a temporary chemical hit. When you're under pressure, your body releases cortisol and adrenaline. When you complete something, dopamine follows. That combination creates urgency. Urgency pushes you into action, and action creates a temporary sense of control. The problem isn't that stress exists. The problem begins when it never switches off. When stress stops being situational and becomes your baseline, your body adapts to it. You start to rely on pressure to initiate movement. You need urgency to feel motivated, and you depend on intensity to feel productive. Over time, your nervous system wires these associations. Pressure means productivity. Chaos feels like aliveness. Intensity signals importance. And that's when it shifts from response to dependency. You're no longer reacting to stress, you're using it to function. And when you remove the pressure and you feel flat, you'll find that this is when people start to create drama, attract demanding relationships, overextend themselves, and unconsciously sabotage their own peace because calm feels unfamiliar, and the body prefers familiar over healthy. Thoughts are not neutral. They're electrical impulses. They carry emotional charge. And repeated thoughts create energetic patterns. If your dominant internal state is urgency, pressure, and constant self-evaluation, you're broadcasting stress. Energy attracts like energy, not in a fluffy way, but in a resonance way. Your nervous system scans for what matches its baseline. So you'll unconsciously say yes to high-pressure situations, tolerate demanding people, stay in chaotic environments, and choose intensity over stability because it matches your internal frequency. This isn't punishment, it's alignment, because at the end of the day, you don't get what you want, you get what you're tuned into. Let's make this more practical. Your brain operates in waves. There's beta, which is all about alert, analytical, and problem solving. There's alpha, being relaxed but focused. Then you slow down into theta brainwaves. This is when you access creativity and intuition. And finally, there's delta. That's when you're in deep sleep, and it's also when your body can access inner healing. Most people today live in high beta, which is all about overthinking, planning, scanning for problems, mental noise, and future projection. It's useful in short bursts, but chronic beta keeps your body in low-level fight or flight. What this means to your body is elevated cortisol, shallow breathing, tight jaws, poor digestion, and disrupted sleep. But here's the real loss. you can't access intuition in high beta. You can't access creativity in chronic stress, and you can't heal deeply when your system thinks it's under threat. Alpha and theta are where insight lives, and delta is where healing and repair happens. But most people dip into these states for only seconds, not nearly long enough to benefit. This is the part that exposes everything. When things go quiet, when there's no crisis, when you have space, you feel uneasy. Your mind looks for something to fix. That discomfort is withdrawal. Your nervous system is used to stimulation, and silence feels unsafe because your body associates alert with alive. And if you grew up in chaos, calm doesn't only feel boring, it feels wrong. So you recreate intensity to feel normal again. And this is how stress becomes self-perpetuating. Chronic stress doesn't just affect mood. It affects hormones, weight, skin, immunity, sleep, aging, and decision-making. But energetically, the cost is even higher. What you lose is clarity, depth, discernment, emotional regulation, and spiritual sensitivity. When your system is always on, you can't hear subtle guidance. You live reactively instead of intentionally, and over time, you confuse motion with meaning. When you're stressed and someone tells you to just relax, we all know that's useless advice. Instead, you need to retrain the nervous system and gradually start with the body. The body leads the brain. Slow your exhale, walk without headphones, eat one meal without stimulation, sit in silence for 5 minutes. The key is to start small, and you still may notice discomfort, but this is your body and mind detoxing from the chronic stress you've grown so used to. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between real threat, news headlines, social media drama, and work emails at 9 p.m. It's time to audit your inputs. If you constantly consume urgency, you'll embody urgency. Intentionally create white space in your calendar. Block out time with no productivity goal attached to it. So basically, no optimizing, no multitasking, and no hidden agenda. Just space. At first, it'll feel inefficient. You may even feel guilty, but that reaction is simply evidence of how conditioned you are to constant output. But make sure you stay with it. Over time, what once felt unproductive will begin to feel powerful, because space is not wasted time. It's where regulation, clarity, and deeper thinking return. Start questioning the identity you've built around pressure. Ask yourself who you are without it, who you are when you're not needed, who you are when there isn't a goal pulling you forward. Sit with those questions honestly, because the answers will reveal whether stress is something you use strategically or something that has quietly started defining you. If you're serious about breaking a stress addiction, you need practices that move you out of chronic beta and into alpha and theta consistently. One of the most powerful tools I've found for this is the meditation on Twin Hearts. This isn't just about relaxing. It's an active meditation that works on the heart and crown energy centers, helping you access higher emotional states while calming the nervous system at the same time. When practiced regularly, it helps shift you into alpha brainwaves more easily. Your body relaxes, your mind clears, emotional charge reduces, and you begin to access deeper clarity and intuition. It also has a tremendous cleansing effect. If you've been holding on to stress, resentment, pressure, or emotional intensity in the system, this meditation helps to release it rather than suppress it. The first few times you do it, you may notice how restless your mind is. This is completely normal, and it's your nervous system detoxing from stimulation. But over time, something changes. You don't need pressure to move, and calm stops feeling empty and starts feeling powerful. If you're ready for something that goes beyond surface level stress management, I highly recommend incorporating it into your daily routine. Even just once or twice a week can create a noticeable change. I've included the details and links in the description below if you want to learn more about this. When you slow down consistently, something begins to reorganize internally. Your brain shifts into alpha more easily. Your body no longer reacts to every stimulus as a threat, and you create space between trigger and response. The benefits to these are that you can respond instead of react. Your intuition becomes clearer and your creativity returns. And interestingly, you often become more effective. Not because you're doing more, but because you're no longer leaking energy into unnecessary urgency. When your system is regulated, your decisions sharpen, your presence deepens, your words carry more weight, and you don't need intensity to feel important. Calm becomes your strength. And this is where deeper practices, like the meditation on twin hearts, becomes powerful, because they don't just relax you temporarily, they retrain your internal baseline. And once you experience this, you realize something profound. You were never lacking drive. You were just overstimulated. Modern society will never tell you to slow down. It profits from your urgency. It rewards your exhaustion, and it normalizes your overstimulation. But your nervous system was not designed to live in permanent beta. Stress was meant to be a moment, not a personality. If calm feels unfamiliar, that doesn't mean it's wrong. It simply means you've adapted to survival mode. And survival mode is not the same as living. The most powerful people are not frantic. They're regulated. They move deliberately. They think clearly, and they don't rush energy. Because when you stop broadcasting chaos, you stop attracting it. There's a version of you that operates from clarity instead of chaos. And that version is far more powerful than the stressed one ever was. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, you need to watch my other video. You don't get what you want, you get what you are, which explains how your internal frequency determines what shows up in your life and how to shift it intentionally. It'll completely change how you look at responsibility and manifestation. Until next time, take care, protect your energy, regulate your nervous system, and always stay inspired.